All right, it's time for the last video of this academic semester. So this is the week before finals week. People are starting to go a little bit crazy. Students are going a little crazy. Faculty and staff are going a little crazy. It is a rough time of the semester, but we're almost done. So I'm asking everybody to just hang in there. And we've been working and working and working for this. The payoff is almost there. So the payoff will be for many people this Friday evening at 6 o'clock at the Civic Center, when we will have our all-campus graduation. This year, our commencement speaker will be Congresswoman Michelle Lujan Grisham. I'm sure she's going to be a fantastic speaker. She's a very inspirational and motivational person. So be sure to come early, because I think that we'll probably have a big crowd. Other really important events that we have going on this week, or this next week too, that are all tied together. The RadTech pinning will be at 6 p.m. on Thursday, May the 11th at the Civic Center. This is also, the RadTech students are one intense bunch, let me tell you. So I think they're all employed, and probably employed making more money than any of us. But so come and wish them well and help them celebrate on Thursday. And then Friday at 11 o'clock at the Civic Center also, we will have the nurses pinning. Should be a large group of students. Always a really festive occasion with families and all the faculty and everything. And again, people are about going crazy at this point in the semester, and everything always comes together, and everybody loves each other again by the time they get to the pinning, and they're not mad at everybody teachers being hard and things like that. So it all seems to come together at the end of next week. Just a couple of updates from our Board of Trustees meeting this morning. One particular item that did get approved today, and I sent an email to everyone to kind of remind everybody, is an update to our tuition waiver policy. There are a couple of changes that will take place in the fall. The first one is that employees must work at Clovis Community College for a full calendar year before they're eligible to receive any kind of a tuition waiver. There are all sorts of reasons and examples of why this is an important thing to do, so you can think about it and it'll probably make sense. The other thing is that we're changing the rate at which we pay for off-campus tuition waivers. We've been paying at the rate of whatever Eastern's tuition is. That started when we used to be a branch of Eastern, and at the time our tuitions were, sort of similar. But since then, their tuition has, gone up a lot more than ours, because they are a four-year university. So the expense has really kind of outrun the budget, I think would be one way to put it. So what we're going to do is start funding off-campus tuition waivers at double what our current in-district rate is. So I think that'll still allow people to take classes off campus and receive some financial subsidy for that, and hopefully that'll work really well. And the other thing is that if students are taking classes at CCC and taking classes off campus, the tuition waiver will be first applied for the CCC classes. So I thought we were already doing that, so that only makes sense, I think. But as always, if you have any questions, please let me know. And again, I want to thank the committee that worked on this. They really did an outstanding job. This was given a lot of thought and a lot of discussion. It was not anything that was just sort of quickly decided or anything. So I feel very, very good about what they've come up with. I want to let everybody know about a new program, I guess would be one way that you could put it, that we're getting ready to implement. And it's also this is part of a large Title V project. This is tied in with the HLC Persistence and Completion Academy that we've been a part of, and it's also a big part of our strategic plan. And this will be focusing on student retention and persistence. And so we've purchased a thing. It's called a CRM, but it's a thing called Starfish by a company named Hobson's. And you'll start seeing some invitations to come to demonstrations and everything that IT is going to put on, and the committee that was involved in the selection of this particular piece of retention software. So what this will do is improve our early alert process, and it will basically be a system whereby we will have information on student progress at all sorts of steps of a student's time with us. so that if a student is running into problems with attendance, or a student is running into problems with grades in a class or something like that, everyone will have a particular level of access to Starfish, and will be able to track that student from start to finish and intervene at critical points so that we can help students be able to persist and to be able to complete successfully with us. So what this really points to is more of a focus on retention as really a part of our culture. Believe me, we are measured on retention in more ways than you can possibly imagine. We have to report these numbers to practically everybody you can think of. It's not just about the numbers, though. It's about really helping our students to be able to succeed and to complete. It's truly been a culture shift in higher education. When I was in college, there were classes that everybody lovingly referred to as freshman weeding out classes. Teachers would announce that in class. So you would go to a class that was notoriously difficult, and everybody knew that the class was going to be hard, and that there was a good chance that you weren't going to do very well. There was even a good chance that you might fail. And that was okay. That was accepted, and that was kind of a point of honor. Well, it's really easy to be difficult. What's hard for a faculty member is to take difficult material and make it accessible to a student, to where a student can understand something that's kind of complicated, like a really tricky Shakespearean play or something like that. So what we're asking people to do, faculty especially, is instead of just, the old school way of trying to just be hard and hope students catch up, to try to reach students on their level and bring them up to the level where we expect them to be. And so that means that everybody has a piece of this whole retention picture, and that we all have a part in helping students along the way, because all sorts of little things can deter them on their path. If they come and they can't find a parking space, you hear stories about students who quit college because they couldn't find a parking space one day, and so they just left and they never came back. There are little things like that matter. So the retention software will give us a system to organize those points of contact that we have with students, and everybody will have an opportunity to become more familiar with that. But the bigger piece to me is that we all have the mindset that this is really important, and that this isn't just another thing that we have to do, and that this isn't just the latest educational buzzword, that this is an important shift in how we treat students, how we value what students contribute to our college, and also in what our role is as employees of this college in terms of making sure that their success is really the most important thing that we work on. So that's enough of my little rant about that. Scott and we've been going back and forth about this whole Chuck Norris concept, and I think some people think, well, why do they even talk about that Chuck Norris he's old, he's irrelevant, he's ancient, why do we even need to talk about him? Well, we talk about him because there is still a certain relevance. There is something important about somebody training to become better, to become stronger, to stay focused, to stay relevant. And I think that's what we kind of have to do as a college, is train ourselves so that we can help our students and train our students to do the things that we expect them to be able to do when they become our graduates. And part of that includes rebranding ourselves along the way in the process so that we're relevant and we feel like our students feel like we're relevant. And so there is just some larger piece to this. It's not just about using the total gym so that a piece of your legs become stronger. Now Brandy and Robin have given me this new exercise which has a total kung fu move in it. Scott, I'll have to show it to you later. And then you get stickers that have Chuck Norris in there. So it's a mindset. It is a culture shift, and that is what I think we all have to sort of get used to, and really we work on this every single day. So watch for notices to come in and see how the Starfish software works, because I think it's very cool, and it really is going to help us do what we need to do. So just to wrap up then, one other event that I forgot to mention is the Young Masters exhibit that's currently hanging in our museum. This is the exhibit from Clovis High School students, grades 9 through 12. The show has grown every year for the last 4 years. We had 90-something entries, I think, and then we accepted 43 pieces of art, I think. So what's really impressive to me is that the interest and the level of participation from the high school students continues to grow. So I want to thank Natalie Daggett and Scott Knauer for doing all of their publicity and everything, and also Carolyn Lindsay and Shirley DeMaio for helping organize the whole thing, because this is one of the biggest exhibits we do, and it's a partnership with the Clovis Municipal Schools Foundation. The reception for that is going to be Tuesday at 5 o'clock next week in our museum. So I'm encouraging everyone to attend graduation this year if you possibly can. It's fun. It really is the biggest celebration we have and the biggest remembrance of why we do what we do. So you see students that you've run into in the hall and you think, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that person, how are they ever going to make it? And then you see that person graduate and you know that they got everything together, they got help from the people that they needed. Students have a unique ability sometimes to really dig deep and do what they need to do to be able to really become professionals in our community. And that's what we're here to do, is to help them reach that point. So I will see everyone at all of our fantastic events next week. And as always, if I can do anything to help you, let me know.